Hey everyone, it's Madison from PH Doodling. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my July weekly spread setup. If you haven't yet checked out my July Plan With Me, be sure to do that, I'll link it above. If you have watched, you know that my theme this month is camping. This has been a really fun theme to do and it's perfect for a summer month, so I'm excited to share with you these weekly spread setups. Alright, let's go ahead and get started with week 2. If you want to see how I did week 1, that is included in my monthly Plan With Me video as well. So we're going to go ahead and start with this week 2, and I'm going to do one of my favorite classic layouts where I have a box for each day, and then a little space for doodles, and then my quintessential tasks box on the left hand side, and then my events on the right hand side. I love having these separate boxes for tasks and events just so that I can keep everything organized throughout the week. Something that's different about this setup than previous month's setup is the fact that I used a brown Pigma pen instead of a black Pigma pen. Just with the color palette that I had chosen, the greens and browns, I felt like using the brown Pigma pen to outline my doodles and other things in these spreads just made it and gave it a little bit softer of a look, and I really like how it turned out. You can see I also chose to use my very light brown color to highlight every other line in my task list. I really like to do this when I have a lot of columns in a row, just to help give my brain a little bit of separation between the tasks on my list. Now that I'm starting to add color on these spreads, I wanted to talk just a little bit more about the color palette for this month's theme. I originally was actually going to do a mix of blues and yellows for this color palette, but I did kind of a quick little swatching of my colors before I was about to get started, and I decided it just really didn't go very well with the theme, and I was like, wow, I really wish I had like a brown and a green, and so I decided to switch over to these colors that I actually used for the spread. So it was a very last minute decision, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. And you can see I picked a dark green and a lighter green, and then 3 different shades of brown. When I'm picking a color palette, I really like having complementary shades like that so that I'm able to kind of create some contrast in my doodles when necessary. So for this setup, I used 5 colors, and for me this is the perfect amount because then it's not too many to choose from, but it still provides enough variety in my spread setup. So there you can see we have the second weekly spread completed. I love all the doodles in this, and it's going to be perfect to plan my week. Moving on now to week 3. This week has a little bit more space in the tasks list for each day, and so I like this spread sometimes because I'm able to have an event section right under the day instead of having everything separated like on the previous spread, and so it's nice just to mix it up every once in a while. And this spread just offers a lot of space to write things for the week, and I really enjoy having lots of space just because I always have lots of things to do. So you can see I went ahead and outlined the structure of this layout and then all the doodles as well. And then of course I do still have a place for notes or other weekly tasks on the far left hand side. This time I called it notes, but notes, weekly tasks, same thing. So now I'm going in and coloring in each of those days and writing in the dates and days of the week. And like I mentioned, I have an event section there at the top of each day, and then below that I have a large section to write tasks for each day that need to be completed. This spread layout is one that I started using back in January of this year, and I have incorporated it in every one of my monthly setups because I do really enjoy the functionality it offers me during the week to plan out all of my events and tasks that I need to get done. So now that I'm adding in color for the rest of those doodles, I just really love having a simple color palette because I then basically just like distribute the colors throughout the spread so that they're kind of evenly used, and it gives your spreads themselves lots of continuity, and then throughout the month as well, which is one of my favorite things. Alright, we're already on the 4th and final weekly spread setup for the month of July, and this is a little bit different spread, kind of a newer one that I decided to try out. For this setup, I knew that I wanted to have enough room in each of my days for all of my tasks to write, but I knew I also wanted to have kind of a banner of doodles across the middle of this setup. And so that's kind of what I'm adding here, is just again incorporating all those fun camping doodles that I've had throughout this theme. And then you can see I've created kind of a banner section for each day of the week. Now I'm going to go in and actually color that. And this is where I'm going to write the day of the week and the date as well. And I thought this was just kind of fun because it allowed me to still have lots of those doodles on my page, but then I still had plenty of space on each of those days to write events and tasks that I'm going to be doing throughout the entire week. And you can see it's very similar to my spread where I do 4 days on each side of the spread so that you have 8 boxes total. These boxes are just a little bit smaller. And so since there's 8, you can see I made that extra one down in the bottom, a place for me to write tasks for the week, just like I normally do. So now we're adding in color, which is the super easy part, and the most fun part is almost like coloring in a coloring book. I think that's why I enjoy these types of weekly spread setups so often, is because I love coloring in all my doodles at the end of my setup. You can see I again chose to take my very lightest brown marker and highlight every other line in each of those days so that I kind of again have some separation. It also kind of filled up the pages a little bit, and I really like how it turned out. Alright, let's go ahead and take a flip through these weekly spread setups. I hope you enjoyed these spread setups and that they gave you some ideas and inspiration for your own bullet journal. I had a great time sharing them with you, and I can't wait to see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Happy doodling!